Right, Andy XL back with my latest NFXL podcast. And again, this time I'm turning myself back to the 2026 NFL draft class and an October updates in terms of the running backs. So um, let's see how the ones I had in my list pre-season are faring. And for me, there are five candidates of note right now and one climber to watch, couple falling. Right, number one, Jeremiah Love, the junior out of Notre Dame. Love is off to a tremendous start to 2025 with 604 scrimmage yards and 9 touchdowns in his first 5 games of the season. In putting up these numbers, he was previously number one on my list anyway, but he's separated himself from the rest of this class and right now is the clear standout running back prospect ahead of the 2026 draft. And that's could well get him into the top half of round one, maybe even top 10. Right. The behind him it's all condensed up, and I see four guys as pretty close now, all in sort of possibly late round two, or even round three, but they're day two guys, and it's Nick Singleton, the senior at Penn State. So far, 328 scrimmage yards and 5 touchdowns in his opening 5 games of this season. Decent start for sure, but nowhere near the production of Love or one or two others that I'm about to mention. The next one up would be Jonah Coleman. Now, Love and Singleton were my one and two at the beginning of the season. Love is now my number three, and he was six at the beginning of the season. So pretty good, very good start to the season for him. With 697 scrimmage yards and no fewer than 11 touchdowns so far in just 5 games. So he's thus climbing draft boards and certainly challenging to be the RB2 come draft time. Another one who's doing that is Justin Haynes, the junior at Michigan. He was 7 on my original list, and now he's 4. Um, he joins Coleman and Love in putting up big numbers early, 683 yards and 8 touchdowns in his first 5 games as a Wolverine, make him another viable candidate to be the second running back taken in the 2026 draft, as I see it right now. And the final one in this little bunch of four is the second Penn State running back. So we have a bit of a situation like we had with the Ohio State pair from last year, Trevelyan Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, working out which one is the best fit for a team and which one's going to do best in the NFL. Because the next one up is I had him at 5 in my previous list, and he's still at 5, as others have moved up and downwards. It's Catron Allen. Um, Allen's had a more than decent start to this season with 402 scrimmage yards and 6 touchdowns to his name. That makes him actually more productive than Singleton so far this season, but he's still being outdone by Coleman and Haynes. So maybe the two Penn State guys are going to taking work off each other, and it might only be until we get to sort of combine and pro day time that one of them gets the opportunity to show who is the stronger candidate to scouts. Um, right. My previous number 3 is now my number 6, and that's Mackie Hughes at Tulane. He could even be dropping out of day 2 into the mid rounds now. He's off to a very quiet start to the season with just 94 yards and no touchdowns. Now, the one I've added into my list, and he might be trying to get into day 2 at some point, but he's probably high round 4 at the moment, is Demond Claiborne, a senior at Wake Forest. He had 100 yards rushing for the Demon Deacons 1,000 yards rushing for the Demon Deacons in 2024 and 1,300 scrimmage yards. He scored 13 touchdowns, 11 of them on the ground. And he's off to a strong start this season too, with 406 scrimmage yards and 6 touchdowns in his first 4 games. In a class that looks pretty thin on top-end talent, Claiborne could push himself towards a day 2 selection if he keeps producing the type of performance he has so far. He's a small, speedy back who will not offer much in terms of blocking, but get the ball in his hands in space and he can be deadly on outside runs and may have more to offer as a receiving back than he has displayed so far at Wake. This season, 442 scrimmage yards and 7 touchdowns. So I've updated those previous numbers that I just quoted. And the final one dropping is Jaden Ott, the senior at Oklahoma. Um, he's just had 76 yards and no touchdowns this season, and 49 of those yards came against Little Kent State last week. So he's on the slide draft stock wise. So that's a quick look at the running backs updated ahead for October. Pretty shallow class at the moment, but the top 3 or 4 for sure, maybe top 5, um, could all be useful to teams in the NFL for sure. And Love may be an outstanding candidate. So I'll come back and update the running back picture again next month. But the next position I'll look at is wide receivers.